Hi, everybody. This is Drew Tomlin with the Association for Middle Level Education, and I am joined today on this Google Hangout interview by Dr. Valerie Rose. Dr. Valerie Rose is an outstanding English language arts teacher and head of the English department at Alima Intermediate School in Ewa Beach, Hawaii, joining us all the way from Hawaii. And she's obviously not only done that, but she is the excellent author of this article that you're checking out today entitled Supporting Students During Times of Change. So thank you so much, Dr. Rose, for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome, awesome. So I'm going to kick off right with the questions, and that is, what the first one is, what inspired you to write about this topic? You know, why now?
So when I was approached about it, she's one of my friends. She writes for AMLE also, and she was like, "I can't do this one. You know, you put me out." I was like apprehensive. Said, but it was a hard time finding a good angle to hit it with.
Right.
You know, I tried to go really academic with it and citations and research, and it just wouldn't come out right. So kind of had to come outside my comfort zone and think back a little bit. So I thought about transitioning when I was in school and realized
that's almost it.
Yeah, I had no transition.
First place to start. That's
great. Yeah. And I realized I never transitioned in school.
School just kind of happened to you.
It did. It just kind of happened. So and in thinking through my outlook rather, how it makes me better understand the process for my kids, I realized I can't really understand the process with them because I didn't go through it. And I think it was a big aha moment, especially us as adults. We don't think about that time period. When you're in school and you're in classes and you're teaching, you don't really go back and reflect on your childhood. You don't, you might reflect on your lesson, but you don't stop and say, you know what, let me think back to when I was in middle school and I cut a class or had to start.
Exactly. The things that young adolescents do that we used to do, that is definitely the best place to start. And I like in your article too, you also took the approach of, a new teacher transitioning, and that's a very similar process. The same type of support needs to be in place, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'm an ex-military wife, so I know that process, having to start over every couple of years in a new state. You don't know anybody. You don't know their standards. You have to learn their culture, the school.
Exactly.
And then depending on the time of year you start, you kind of are just thrown in there and you have to ready to run. You don't have the transition period to get to really know people, to build relationships, to kind of help you out. The good thing as teachers, we are such big-hearted people. Someone's always going to come around and say, hey, how's it going? Do you need something? But for the most part, you're kind of left on your own to figure it out.
Very true. Very true. So with all of this struggle, if it's evident that students need support going through this, why do you think young adolescents are so reluctant to ask for help when they're struggling with transition? And why is it also then so important for us to intervene when they're not asking for help?
I think they don't ask for help because in middle school, there seems to be this, now you have to be very independent clause that comes with middle school from the parents. Right. Parents say now you're in middle school and it's time for you to get it together. It's time for you to grow up a little bit. But it happens, I really feel like it happens too quick. You leave out of elementary school, you have one teacher. You might go to like a specials class or two. But you have one teacher and there's 30 kids. You don't have 6 teachers with classes in different buildings or rotating schedule. Just if the dynamics shift so drastically, some kids can't handle that. A lot of kids can't handle that.
Yeah, so let's talk about that some more. So when you're working with families, I mean, they're a key stakeholder in this whole recipe. You mentioned in the article that a red flag goes up when you hear someone say, now that he's in middle school, he needs to be more responsible. Why is that such a red flag to you? And how do you support parents and families who think this way? Like you said, it's they might not be able to handle it. The kids going through this transition. So How do you work with families?
I think teaching middle school for so many years, I've been able to finally like pinpoint what it looks like, what the struggle looks like in the beginning, right? Think about the kid who is late to class but doesn't want to say in front of everybody that he got lost because he doesn't want to look like he got lost, or
Right.
the one who's lost 2 of the 500 sheets of paper you have to get signed on the first day of school, or going to the wrong class period. Today's an odd day, but you went to all your even day classes.
Right.
It can look so different in so many ways. In class, it's the one who didn't grow up here, but so doesn't know how to write the school's heading on paper because it came from
Another school. Right.
Colorado,
Yeah.
where they do something totally different. So they need that kind of time to be able to learn, again, the culture of the school. Make some, it's good when we try to put them together with other kids who are new to the state, especially in the beginning of the year. That way they can kind of learn and fumble together and not feel bad about it because they're all in the same boat. Because they're told they have to be ready and they have to be independent. And then it's like a, what do you call it? Something about that age also, where they want to be treated like adults,
yes,
even though they're not ready to be treated like adults.
Yes.
So they don't want to be seen like they're a baby by asking for help.
Right.
So in those cases, you have to be really slick in how you approach them. I send them on field trips. Like if I see them kind of getting kind of anxious, and I'll send them someplace, and that way they'll kind of learn the buildings as kind of on accident, on purpose at the same time.
Right, exactly.
So they get lost because this kid keeps getting lost. In Hawaii, our schools are kind of outdoors. We don't have hallways.
Right.
We have buildings. So going from the locker room to the science building is a trek.
Right. So that physical journey it takes an emotional and mental journey that's important to the transition. So getting them out there and having them walk around is an important part of it. Yeah.
And that way they can do it without people looking at them.
Yeah.
So, and it
sounds like giving parents that same experience is important too, right? Do you invite them on campus and do the same type of stuff?
We usually do it during registration period here. So it's at the end of summer, and it's a day or two where families are allowed to come on campus and get a campus tour by the school leadership team. They'll give them the map and they give them their schedule. Let's go see where all your classes are.
Right.
But I realize, which is a great thing, but doing that one tour once for 10 minutes, which you've probably lost direction a few times, and the kid doesn't want to look antsy in front of the parent because it's actually the parent who ends up leading the tour.
Right.
So they, getting them some school level people their age so that they can kind of get lost and not pay attention because they're just following what their parents are taking them.
Right. Exactly. So you mentioned in the article, as well as in our conversation, some sort of school-wide initiatives, such as team building exercises that can help students become a little easier with the transition process. So what are some things, that's the school-wide approach, what are some things that teachers and staff could do on a daily basis as well, like the little things that matter too? Like what's something that we could do?
One thing that has worked for me, and it's kind of my go-to because it's easy, and it's when I get a new student, we take out everyone's schedule. So all right, who has second period science? All right, this is your buddy for science. Who has third period math? This is your buddy for math. And in doing so, all the kids come together. Okay, I can come together. Okay, I can go to recess with them, and now I can walk to science with them. But it also builds like a little family setting in the classroom.
Yeah.
And then I am a big kid at heart, not kind of. So I try to just make sure that kids are comfortable so that they know no matter what time of the day, if they're anxious, come find me.
Mm-hmm.
We'll work it out and I'll get you squared away and where you need to go. I think that's the most important thing, because adolescent, that age is so important, because it's that weird transition period. It's
Right.
not in elementary school, but you're not really that high school adult-ish yet. It's such a weird moment in time. So.
Right. And like you said, they need to know that they've got an advocate in the school that they can turn to. And if they're lost either physically in the building, or if they're lost emotionally in the building or socially in the building, then you are the safe shoreline that they can, journey back to. So that's a really good message for all young adolescents, I think.
Yeah, they really need to know that there's someone that's going to, to keep them afloat. They need to know someone has their back. At the end of the day, that's kind of what this whole process revolves around, knowing that you got a support system, so you're not going to fall on your face too many times.
There you go. There you go. So our last question is a metaphorical one, so we're going to transition to it. All right. And it is, so you ready for it? What do you think, Valerie? You ready?
I'm ready for it.
Okay. So if transition in the middle grades was a food, what kind of food would it be and why? What do you think?
It would be a salad.
Oh, go ahead. Nice.
It would be a salad, because salads are layered, right? And salads got a variety of food in it, or vegetables or fruits, or whatever you put in your salad. It's just more than one thing in there, right? And that kind of represents the different types of transitioning that students go through. It could be an easy transition. It can be, like a base salad. It could require a little bit more support.
Oh.
Garden salad. It could be a lot of support, like a steak in your salad.
Ooh.
Right.
I see. So like I might need some more protein in my transition plan.
Right.
So, all right, that makes sense. Now, would you have the salad in a bowl or on a plate?
I'll have a salad in a bowl, because I don't want my salad to fall all over the place. I need it to be contained.
That's it. Boom. That was a mic drop moment for you, Dr. Rose. Wow. All right. So yeah. So the salad should be in a bowl, so it has some safe kind of structure to it, and it won't spill out all over the place. So we don't want to lose any kids out of the bowl. That is for sure.
No.
Wow.
No.
Well, Dr. Rose, I'll tell you what. Thank you so much. Aloha and mahalo to you for the article and for the conversation today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you, AMLE Magazine readers, for checking out the article and this interview. Here at AMLE, we help you reach every student, grow professionally, and create great schools. All right, thanks again, Dr. Rose.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye.